Hey boys and girls, what's up? This is Alvin Mark. You're tuned to the Art Channel. Thank you for watching. We're gonna do the Singapore Camino in this episode, so stay tuned. Welcome to my hood, everyone. This is the Telok area, south central of Singapore. And recently a former colleague of mine mentioned to me that there is actually a Singapore Camino that kind of is a spin-off from the Camino de Santiago de Compostela in Spain. And for those of you who have heard about this pilgrim path or passage before, it is a trek in Spain. And for those who know my background, yes, I've walked it, and yes, it has been life-changing. In fact, it was the main reason why I decided to do art about 10 years ago. So Adventures Unlimited came up with this nice little track that meanders from the south of Singapore and roughly ends towards the northern central part of Singapore. There we go. And it covers about 17-ish churches, church buildings, and that is what I'll be tracking in the next few days. Yes, like the Camino, I will be taking my time. The Camino has taught me many lessons in life, so this journey is going to be a recap for me. This journey is going to remind me of my path vividly when I walked it 10 years ago, and I'm gonna check off the stuff that I'm still practicing. Hopefully I'm not sidetracked from that mainstream, that path that inspired me 10 years ago. So here we are at the Church of St. Teresa's. It is actually the second stop. The first stop is at Harbourfront, the MRT station, which is at Vivo City. It's just that this is my hood, and I've decided, oh well, let's head on here to St. Teresa's. Let's find a nice little angle to sketch this pretty little church that has been modeled after Sacred Heart or Sacré-Cœur in Paris, France. So I'm gonna try my best to mimic how I walk the path. It's just my day haversack with all my art instruments, and this time because I'm vlogging, I will be carrying also my vlogging equipment. So yes, there's a safety net in the sense that I don't have to think about where I'm going to go to bed in the evenings because I live here on this island. So I'm gonna head back every evening to sleep, to shower, and then I'll head out again in the morning or in the afternoon towards the evening when I see fit. Here we go. So that was St. Teresa's. I'm heading towards Telok Ayer, where Chinatown is right now. Before that, let us detour over here to Bukit Teresa Road. There's a little chapel that maybe few of us know about, and it's not on that main list. Yeah, let's head up the hill. That's the AYE, or the Ayer Expressway right there. We're almost there. See that flight of steps going up. In case I did not make myself clear, I will be on foot this whole entire journey, taking detours here and there to explore the surrounds also whilst I'm visiting or passing by these churches. Just like how it was on the Camino, from village to mid-sized town to huge cities, back to open sprawl of lands with nothing but just a dirt path in the sky. Check that out. It's a little chapel. Cloistered Carmelite sisters live there. And let's see if I can get a nice sketch, peek of the interiors of this space, because it's well hidden from the public. Yeah, so this second gate is locked. So is the main gate there, where the chapel is. It's a really pretty chapel in there when they have their open houses. I'm gonna try to make a sketch from out here. Let's do it. Sister Jacinta came to check. Probably CCTVs picked up that there's this strange weirdo causing a nuisance outside that gate, so she came to check on me and introduce myself. So the next stop is, this is interesting. So on the Camino, for me it was all about slowing down. Really, like, we all know how fast-paced Singapore is, right? And that was a good message for me being on the Camino, to slow down. The Camino allowed me to travel from 60 kilometers an hour to 6 kilometers an hour. So I'm heading to Chinatown. I'm gonna find a safe way there. Don't know how, but just like the Camino, you just walk and you get there. We're on this little bridge, and this is the AYE, or Ayer Raja Expressway, and that direction is where we're headed. Probably another 20-minute walk, and that used to be a railway station. They've made it into a park connector where people can walk. So again, I think I see efforts in trying to get people to slow down. The way of life here in Singapore, it's a good thing. When I was on the Camino, I journeyed on my own, and looking back now, I realized that that had actually impacted me more than if I'm with a group or with someone, a friend. Because you are on your own journey, you kind of have to watch out on yourself also. Everything that you're doing on the track, you're not dependent on the group that you're walking with or your friend. I'm moving along just as and when my body needs to move along. I'm not sitting down and waiting for someone else. We are at the Blair Conservation Area right now, so I'm not really using a GPS to get me where I need to go. I roughly know where the endpoint is, and I just walk. I mean, yes, I live here, so I know the roads pretty well. Yeah, but again, the Camino has allowed me to use my instincts more. Now I'm hungry. We're almost there. Actually, you see the Capitol Tower, Capitol Land building over there? That's where we're headed for. We're here at the edge of Crater Ayer, or Chinatown, and you know, the flora and fauna here, they remind me of being on the Camino. Those things have been there way longer than I have, and they're still surviving. So it's just comforting to know that I shouldn't let life cause me too much stress. If you just keep moving or you keep walking, you will surely end up at your destination. Let's see if I can do this before sundown, yeah? This is the Chinese Methodist Church, and it was established in 1889. There's some construction happening, but yeah, I'll sketch it without the construction bits. folks, the sun has set and I guess I'm gonna call it a night. How do you like that sketch over there of this Chinese Methodist church? I'm gonna begin right here again in my next session, and we're gonna continue on to City Hall, where we will sketch the first Armenian church here in Singapore. Until then, good night. And folks, this is where we last left off. We're gonna continue from this point where the Chinese Methodist Church used to be known as that name. Now it's called the Telok Ayer Chinese Methodist Church. This is one of my favorite food centers, Amoy Street Food Market. Let's head on in and see if we can have a cup of ginger milk tea before we continue on this journey. A lot of the stalls here are closed because it's a public holiday today. Let's see which stalls are open today. My favorite ginger milk tea stall is closed, but let's go ahead with the other one that's open. Yeah. Alright, so that's saying goodbye to the Amoy Street Food Market and passing by this temple, and further up we have a few mosques. We're heading over to the Armenian Apostolic Church of St. Gregory the Illuminator. I've always referred it as the Armenian Church. So that's the Tien Hock King Temple, the oldest temple in Singapore. Let's just do a roundabout to the front so that you can see what the facade looks like. No filming inside of the temple, so I'm just gonna film on the outside. Okay, so once again, do I go left or do I go right? I think I'll take the back alley. So much more character in these back alleys. Really fun for a sketcher too. Once again, you're with me, Alvin Mark, and you're on my art channel. We are doing the Singapore Camino. So it's a public holiday. Traffic is really super light. And that's where we're going to. That's Swiss Hotel right there. And the Armenian church is just right next to it. So in about 20 minutes, I guess. There are a lot of covered walkways in Singapore. This is just one of them, quite extensive. And it's along this eating strip where the CBD is. We're actually caught in between where Chinatown over there in front of us and the Central Financial District behind us. We're right 1 degree north of the equator, so it rains a lot here, hence the covered walkways and pathways. These are known as 5-foot ways because, let's do the math here. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before we hit the stores. Yeah, and now there's an extension. So we have a little more than a width of 5 feet to walk. There are plenty of green spaces here in Singapore, and it's just part of our government's efforts to help make the city blend back into nature. Skyscrapers that maybe you're familiar with. So hi everyone, we're here at Elgin Bridge, and it links North Bridge Road to South Bridge Road here in central Singapore. Let's take a walk across this bridge on the pedestrian side. And over there, that's Marina Bay Sands, if you can see that from over here. This below us is the Singapore River, where life once began here on this tiny island city-state. Hello. Parliament House over there. and the Singapore Art Gallery over there. We're cutting through a mall right now, and this mall is really cool because bicycles are allowed to pedal in here. Check it out. We have come to the end of this episode. This is Alvin Mark. You're on my art channel. I hope you are enjoying the Singapore Camino so far. Tune in to the next one. Until then, stay cool, stay safe. Ciao, ciao.